you try your best but you don't succeed, when you get what you want but not what you need, when you feel so tired but you can't sleep, stuck in reverse, and the tears come streaming down your face when you lose something you can't replace.
My name is Orla Tinsley and I'm 26. I've had cystic fibrosis since I was born.
My name is Martina Goggin.
I'm Phyllis Cunningham. I'm the Transplant Coordinator in Beaumont.
My name is Deirdre Roach Doherty, and I'm 36 years of age, and I was born with a condition called cystic fibrosis.
My name is James Reynolds and I'm a kidney transplant recipient.
My name is Deirdre Fall and I'm 46 years of age. I needed to have a liver transplant.
What is organ donation?
What is organ donation?
It's basically saving a life.
I think organ donation is incredibly important. I think it's one of the most important issues in Ireland today. I think, when it comes to organ donation, by ticking that box on your driver's license or by carrying a donor card, you can save someone's life. You can actually save multiple lives by donating your organs.
Organ donation to me personally is the gift of life. It's the commitment that is made from the family to give up their loved ones' organs, to give me personally or everyone else who has a transplant a second chance at life.
Well, organ donation is the ultimate, is the gold standard for any patient in end organ failure. So we're talking about for heart, lung and liver transplant, it's a life-saving operation, and obviously extending the life of people in kidney or pancreas failure.
Organ donation has become, I suppose, a seriously important part of my life now. The awareness of it and the importance of it and trying to get that message across to people is really important. And any donor families I ever meet, they always say exactly the same thing.
What is the process of organ donation?
What is the process of organ donation?
Any intensive care unit in the country would contact us when a patient who has been admitted to the intensive care unit has sustained irreversible brain damage, resulting in either a very, very severe car accident or maybe a brain hemorrhage. So this person is on a life support machine and has been declared brain stem dead by 2 independent doctors, and the decision to turn off the ventilator or the life support machine has to be made. And the family have either brought up the subject of organ donation, or the hospital are considering approaching the family to discuss the possibility of organ donation.
Well, I was sick since I was a baby. I was in and out of hospital up until I was 18, and they never thought I'd need a kidney transplant, but it was roughly when around 18, 19 when they said I had developed stage 5 kidney failure, and that was when it kind of hit me that we're looking on the list, we're looking for a kidney transplant, and dialysis was on the way,
It started with seasickness. I went to the doctor, and then that progressed. After 2 weeks I went back to him. I was still seasick, still feeling sort of woozy and seasick. Went back in again and he just gave me more seasickness tablets. Another week on I started to get yellow and my eyes started to get yellow and all of that, and I was told I needed a liver transplant.
I was diagnosed when I was 6 months old, and basically it's a condition that affects the lungs predominantly, but also other organs in the body.
it's often, mostly always in the middle of the night, we end up phoning our patients for transplant. And I mean, it's the emotions, it involves the whole family, you know, from absolute elation to shock to crying to laughing, you know, the whole family shouting, not even hearing what you're saying because they're so excited, even though it's the call they've been waiting for. When it comes, they are taken by surprise. And even though they're delighted it's the call that will change their whole lives, it is also a very emotional time for our recipients because they know that somebody has died, that their family have lost their loved one, and they're very much thinking of their donor at that time. And really they do for the rest of their lives, that every morning they wake up feeling healthy and well. They know it's through the gift of life they've been given through organ donation.
I think it was about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I got a phone call off the transplant coordinator, and she told me, you know, James, we have a kidney for you. That's, as we call it, the call. You know, that's what you've been waiting for. I rang my dad and said, you know, this is it, you know, get the bag ready, like, oh, I'm going to get a kidney transplant. I would have loved to be on the other end of the call and watching my mum and dad, you know, how they reacted to the news, because my mum was in bed and my dad just told me that. He grabbed her, you know, by the side of the face and said, you know, this is it, you know, he's had to get the call.
I mean, the actual operation to remove the organs is carried out like any operation in the operating theatre of the hospital where the patient has died.
It is important to let your next of kin know what your wishes are regards organ donation. If unfortunately something did happen to you, it's incredibly important because then your wishes can be followed through on and you can save lives.
My connection started with organ donation back in 2006. Our son, our only child, Damon, was involved in a car accident in our home village in Spittle. He was a front seat passenger in a car driven by a friend, and it crashed and he suffered severe head injuries and was on life support for 5 days, the best part of 5 days. And at a point through that time, we were spoken to by one of the doctors that in the event of he not pulling through, would we consider organ donation? And luckily for us, we were able to say yes, because I had actually had the conversation with Damon sometime previously, having just heard an ad on the radio, and I spoke to him and said, look, Damon, if anything ever happens to me, you know what I'd like. So, and he totally agreed with me. I don't think he ever did succeed in getting a card or signing a card because I never found one. But I knew what his wishes would be, and that was hugely important to us at the time.
Families derive huge comfort through organ donation. I think what's really important and very beneficial is that families being aware of their loved one's wishes prior to death. It makes that decision an awful lot easier for families at a very, very difficult, traumatic time.
Yeah, I think the donor family, obviously, you know, if they hadn't have made that decision, then I wouldn't be here.
I feel like I live my life to the fullest because of my donor.
You can write to them, and I did write them, but there's no back and forward.
We would obviously write to families afterwards to let them know how the recipients have done. We would never take organs from a patient who has died unless we had a suitably identified recipient. And then we're able to tell the families afterwards the ages, whether male or female, and how they have done. And many of our recipients write afterwards to their donor families to let them know how much it has meant to them, because it really does change the lives.
So I suppose it's just to make people aware of organ donation, and I suppose without it I wouldn't be here and the two girls wouldn't be here, only for people's generosity. So I suppose my two donors, I've been very, very lucky that two families have given me this gift of life.
A positive thing can come from tragic circumstances.
I participate in the Transplant Games, and for me that was like a huge step. You know, it was bringing back my sport into my life, going to all the competitions, meeting people from around the world, you know, and that has opened up a whole area that I didn't have before, and you know, that is in itself a celebration, and it's a give back. For me, it's about giving back.
I have friends all over the world that had kidney transplants, that have liver, heart, lungs, and you know, to have them in the in the one games, it's not even just oh, you're meeting them in a hospital, but you're actually meeting these at international level is quite impressive, and I'm proud to be a part of the team.
What happened after the whole process had happened and Eamon's organs were donated, and we donated his heart, his liver and his kidneys, so that was 4 people benefited and had a chance at a new life. We began to realise that organ donation was hugely important, not just for recipients but for organ donor families, because it was really, really big comfort to us at the time. I always say it was like the only chink of light at a time that there was just darkness, and the fact that something good might have come out of his death was hugely important.
It actually changes people's lives for the better and allows them to have a future that they would not otherwise have.
I would have been the first person in the world to have a heart, lung, kidney transplant and go on to have a successful pregnancy. So then we said we'd chance it again, and then Abby came along this year in September. So I've been very, very blessed to have 2 healthy children after having heart, lung and kidney transplant.
You will create a legacy and you will allow someone else to live when you couldn't, and I think it's one of the greatest miracles in life. I genuinely do.
Eamon died in 2006, and in 2008 we set up a foundation called Strange Boat Donor Foundation, and the purpose of that was to kind of give information and give support to organ donor families and people involved in the organ donation community. And one of the projects we thought would be lovely was to have a sort of one place where people could come and remember their loved one, and for recipients to come in and give thanks for the gift that they've been given, and that it would be a special place. So we decided we'd set up a garden, a commemorative garden. Galway City Council came on board and gave us permission to locate the garden in this wonderful little park on the Prom in Salt Hill. There's a lot of wonderful carvings and art and stonework, and we wanted to be a place of comfort and inspiration and a place of calm for people, and that when people have come there that they will feel better when they have left the garden. And the garden is called Circle of Life, and so a lot of the carvings reflect the circle of life.
I suppose because the transplants I've been given now, I'm able to work full time. I have 2 beautiful kids. Life is pretty much normal, apart from having to take medication for the rest of your life. But I mean, I can do basically more or less anything I really want to do now, which I couldn't have done before I had the transplants.
On a personal level, because I have cystic fibrosis, sometime in my life I will need a double lung transplant. So obviously organ donation is important to me. It's important that people donate their organs so that people who need them, as I will someday, can get them.
You could text or download the app, or simply just talk to your parents.
When you try your best but you don't succeed, when you get what you want but not what you need, when you feel so tired but you can't sleep, stuck in reverse, and the tears come streaming down